Good morning, everyone. Today is the 11th day of Teves, and we're starting chapter 10 in the Tanya. We're on page 81 of Chayenu. In today's lesson, we're going to define what a complete tzaddik versus an incomplete tzaddik means and how this depends on the righteous man's degree of hatred towards evil. You can't just be a good guy. You gotta hate the evil. Think about that. Anybody who just stands by when something's happening to someone else, I'm just a good guy. I don't get involved. Not a complete tzaddik. You got to get involved, right?
Even when something good happens.
Both. Chapter 10. Very good. After elaborating the previous chapter on the ongoing battle, as we mentioned last night, between the Yetzer Tov and the Yetzer Hara, who's going to be controlling the body, the person, the Alter Rebbe now proceeds to explain that one who vanquishes his animal soul and transforms its evil into good, this is a tzaddik. V'hinei sha'adam magbir nafshe helikis. When a person causes his divine soul to prevail over the animal soul, meaning he wins the war. V'nilcham kol kach im habahamis ad shemegoresh mavir harashaba mechalala smali. Again, he's waging this war against the animal soul to the extent that he banishes and eradicates all the evil from within him. And as we mentioned, from the left part of the heart. The pasuk says we should eradicate evil from your midst. Don't just think about your surroundings, the community, somebody's being bad. So we're talking about your midst within you. Get it out of your heart. Get it out of your mind. As to one who achieves this goal, but finds that the evil has nevertheless not actually been converted to good. He conquered it, but he didn't destroy it. He didn't convert it to the bright side. Then what? He's called an incomplete tzaddik. He banished the evil, but he wasn't able to convince the evil to join his team. The tzaddik v'raloi. It's called the tzaddik who knows evil, meaning there's still some evil. There's still some evil that lingers within him, which is always dangerous because, it's like leaving Hamas to go rearm. Mamish, to convert them, I don't know how you're going to convert them. To destroy them, we could destroy them. But to leave them and say, as long as they're not bothering us right now, it's okay. That's no good. So if the evil is there, the real tzaddik is somebody who takes that evil and completely nullifies him to the good, so that the evil no longer exists. So the tzaddik may imagine that he's driven out and it's quite disappeared. So when he does that and he says, I took care of it, but there's still a little bit of evil left there. So what happens? And the evil completely departed and disappeared, it would have been converted into actual good, would have been nullified into the good. So what does this mean? Perhaps the incomplete tzaddik feels no desire for evil because he has no longer any evil inside of him, having converted it to good. So why should we say that he only imagines himself to be free of evil? So to explain this, Alter Rebbe clarifies what it means to be a complete tzaddik, because we're still stuck on what does it mean to be an incomplete tzaddik with a little vestige of evil. So he's going to explain what a complete tzaddik is, and then it'll clarify. To explain this matter further, a complete tzaddik in whom the evil has been converted into good, and who is consequently called a tzaddik who knows only good. He's attained this level by completely removing his filthy garments from evil. What does this mean? Limois moi besanuga ilam hazel lesanig bom besanugais B'nei Adam. This means that the tzaddik despises the pleasures of the world. He finds them repulsive. Anyone who's having physical pleasure, how could you have physical pleasure when you could instead give God pleasure? When you could instead be learning Torah and doing mitzvahs and doing something that is productive for Hashem and for the world. And instead you're going to eat an ice cream or you're doing something that's giving you carnal pleasure. No, not necessarily. As long as you eat it on Shabbos at the right setting at the right time. But if you're doing it, it's neutral. If you're having it at a Sheva Brachas or a Bris, you're doing it at the right time. Yeah. So for physical pleasures dedicated to serving Hashem, is exactly what we're talking about. For example, the pleasure of enjoying Shabbos with food and drink, it's not such pleasure that's repugnant to a tzaddik, but pleasure for the sake of self-indulgence. So when you're sitting down for a Friday night meal with your family and your wife serves delicious homemade ice cream, parv, of course, because you just had a nice, delicious roast beef, of course you should enjoy it. You don't even have to have kavanah because on Shabbos, everything that you eat is already sanctified in Shabbos. But if today's Wednesday, you go home and you have you have some crazy fat lunch and you decide you're going to have a double scoop of ice cream after that. For what? You got work to do. You didn't finish the Rambam. You didn't finish learning Tanya. We're taking the easy road, but we're talking about physical pleasures. Everybody has to look in the mirror and decide on their own what they didn't need and they did for their own personal gain and satisfaction. And they could have spent their time and resources on focused in HaKadosh Baruch Hu instead. You could have opened up a sefer, could have done an extra mitzvah, you could have called somebody who's sick on to visit somebody. Instead, I'm scrolling, I'm watching the show. How about that? The tzaddik, he despises such pleasures, for they're derived and received from the klipa and sitra achra, the very antithesis, the opposite of holiness. For the complete tzaddik, anything that's from the other side, he despises. Anything that's not on the side of the Eibusher, on the side of good, if it's on the other side, he hates it. He despises it. That's not for me. He stays far away from it. I don't want to touch it. But mamish asina, he hates it. Chamas goydel avasil Hashem k'dushasei ba'ava rava b'tainugim v'chiba yiseira haneskarim leil. Why does he hate it? Because of his great love and affection for HaKadosh Baruch Hu and everything that comes with that, the Torah, the mitzvahs, the davening. So Tzaddik's great love for Hashem causes him to hate anything that opposes God. If God told you not to do this, and this is something that is antithetical to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and I hate it. There's no room for it in my life. These are opposite. This is opposite Hashem. The pasuk says, "I hate them with a consuming hatred," says David HaMelech, of those who oppose Hashem, because they have become enemies to me. Search me, says to Hashem, and know my heart. This means by searching me and knowing how great my love is of Hashem in my heart, you will know that my hatred towards Hashem's enemies is also just as much. Just as much as I love Hashem, so is my hatred towards those who oppose Hashem. Hence, according to the amount of love that a tzaddik has, that's going to be the equivalent of how much hatred he has towards evil. And what is evil? It's represented by whatever the Nefesh HaBahamis and the Yetzer Hara tries to get you to do, which is physical pleasure, or to talk Lashon Hara, or to do something that's wasteful time, wasteful spending, whatever it is. Imagine that this hatred is the exact opposite of love. The more you love Hashem, the more you hate the opposite, the more you hate the evil. So in any event, this is what we're talking about. This is how we can say a complete tzaddik. A complete tzaddik is so against the other side that he hates it with such a passion as much as he loves Hashem. And now we understand what it means an incomplete tzaddik. Because an incomplete tzaddik, he might love Hashem, but if he's not showing total hatred for the other side, it means he's not loving Hashem to the highest level, because everything works, it works both ways. If you love Hashem so much, then the opposite is going to be you hate evil. If you don't hate evil, that means you don't love Hashem to the fullest extent. So he still has some work to do. So an incomplete tzaddik doesn't hate the other side as much as he should. So he doesn't find evil completely just disgusting to him. As long as his hatred of evil is not 100%, then he still has a slight bit of love towards it. Question? You got to come closer. I can't hear you. I'm getting old. How to love Hashem? Yeah, the Alter Rebbe does give methods of how to love Hashem. There's a whole process. We can't say it on one foot, but certainly, and it starts in the morning with the davening and appreciating Hashem's greatness, and you work on it. It's a meditation and a skill. It's a spainus and a spaidudus. There's an intensity there. It's not just like we all have the latent love for Hashem that's passed on through the genes from Avraham Avinu. So that's the automatic love that every Yid has. But then there's the love that comes through the knowledge, the Chachma Bina Das, Chabad. The Chachma Bina Das, and then that transfers to the Midas. And then our whole body is consumed by that fiery love of Hashem, Kiddush Be'esh, like a fiery coal that burning love. Ava Rabba, Ava Solam, we're trying to reach that pinnacle, that peak of tremendous love of Hashem, certainly. And by the way, the whole Tanya is based on that. The whole book of Tanya, this thing, is very near to you. It's on your mouth and on your heart that you could do it. What? To love and fear Hashem. So it's possible to do, but you can't just show up one morning, Jeremy, and just ask the question, get the answer, walk out door and say, okay, now I know it. We're on our 3rd year of recordings and our 47th year of learning every single day. You gotta dedicate your life, and then at the end of your life, you think you know it, and you're still going to be learning every single day, trying to reach as high as we can to connect to Kadosh Baruch Hu. There's no question. It's Alter Rebbe explains it's within our reach, but it's going to take a tremendous amount of effort. Yeah. He just said it. The more we love, it's like if.
No, the question is like what it says, how you love Hashem. So I hate it, but maybe my year, I don't
when you think about evil, we're thinking about don't break Shabbos and don't eat non-kosher and things like that. But when you look at it from the perspective of the battle that's taking place every day inside of ourselves, it's everything, almost everything throughout the day boils down to the difference between selfishness and selflessness. Is it for me? Do I feel good about it? Is it personal gain and satisfaction? Like, do I feel good about this particular thing? Even when we're learning Torah. So that's the whole concept of, if you learn Torah shalei lishma, then you could reach the level of lishma. Lishma means you're learning Torah because it's a mitzvah. But we enjoy learning Torah. So it's a very fine line. Like, if I'm enjoying learning Torah, so I'm doing it for me. That's not ultimate lishma, right? Okay, but still we should do it. Davening is the same thing, I feel. Sometimes, today I davened so good, I felt good about it. Wait a second, what's that for? You doing it for yourself to feel good? Or are you dedicating your an extra hour to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So that's on a simple level that we can understand. But then there's eating. How many times do we eat? And before we eat, we stop and we think, I'm doing this so that I could have a healthy body and have energy to serve Hashem. And if I'm doing it for personal satisfaction because this is delicious, I'm going to eat this and not eat that. Because this I like and that I don't like. Then it's self-serving.
Essential.
So that battle is waged every day and every moment of the day. Listen, as we go forward through the Tanya, we'll realize that we're halavaya beinini, because the tzaddik, Rala, the tzaddik v'tevla is super high level. That's what if we're dealing with, how much we hate evil. Wow, we've already conquered all of our personal desires. We haven't done a single aveira in years and years since we discovered this concept. Maybe we're not holding that level, but certainly we could take moments and be tzaddik-like throughout our day. And that's, I think, our goal. Because if we're going to say, okay, I'm going to be tzaddik v'toivloi, anybody who's going to say that honestly, or at least it's not just unrealistic, you're not being honest with yourself. And we all amongst ourselves, we're friends here. We could be, we know that, we're human beings. We're going to make a lot of mistakes along the way. And that's not a tzaddik, whether it's v'toivloi or v'raloi. But we could have tzaddik-like moments. We could say, you know what? I'm not eating that extra scoop. Or I'm not thinking this during davening. I'm going to struggle. Sorry about the ice cream reference. I'm going to struggle and make sure that I have ultimate kavanah. And every time I'm saying the words, if I didn't have complete concentration, I'm going to say it again and again and again. Oh, suddenly I'm lagging behind. It doesn't matter. I'm going to have complete concentration on every letter of every word of every moment that I'm saying it. And then you have a tzaddik moment. And the Yetzer Hara that's trying to get you, you're like, I'm not going to let you in. And you force him out. How do we force him out? You can't think of the evil force him out by thinking of the evil. You have to feel good. Now that I was going to explain that there's almost no way to stop thinking about anything. You can't stop thinking about something. What you have to do is replace that thought with something positive, and then almost use it as a stepping stone. Stamp out the evil with good. And that's the whole concept of light over darkness. That's the whole story of Hanukkah. So for our purposes, the level of hating the evil, eventually we'll get there. But right now what we have to do is, there's the sur meirav aseh tov. You have to get rid of the bad in order to do the good. But this concept of hate has no home here. West Orange has this thing. Hate has no home here. It's going to go on the internet, so I hope I'm not offending anybody. But I have a problem with that concept, because the minute you say that, you think, oh, hate, which hate? Oh, this one said this one said that. You're putting focus and energy on that. How about love has home here? This is where we love each other. We're unity is community, that kind of message. Say that first. And you're not talking about hate. You're not focusing on that. Okay, sometimes it has to be addressed when an incident comes up. So Sur Meirah, it right away focuses on bad. The Rebbe has a very interesting part, and he says, today, we don't have time to Sur Meirah v'aseh tov. We have to go lechatchila riba. We have to jump over all the obstacles, and we have to right away do good. We have to start doing good. Obviously, you need a strong foundation. So if you don't clear away the rubble when you're building a house, and you start building a house on shaky ground, it's not going to work. So you have to have a clean heart, a pure heart. You have to wake up in the morning and say, Meida ani lefanecha, and you have to wash your hands, and you have to come to davening. And as soon as you leave, the biggest challenge really starts as soon as you leave shul, or you leave davening if you're davening at home. Because as soon as you enter the world, it's like, okay, I got to check my phone, and I got to call this one back. Oh, that guy, he messed me up in business. Wait till I'm going to call so-and-so, and he's going to straighten this. And then the wheels start turning, whether it's interpersonal, or whether it's you struggle with the Yetzer Hara, or whether it's with the scrolling, or whatever the case may be. Suddenly the battle begins in earnest. The battle is brewing earlier on during the davening, because remember what happened during Shemona Esrei, when you were supposed to think of, Shema Keilenu, Hashem Elokeinu, Avaracham Arachem Aleinu, you're asking Hashem for mercy, and suddenly, like that jerk, what I mean? Or whatever happened in your mind, hopefully, and sometimes thoughts that are completely inappropriate hit you from left field. Where'd that come from? Happens to everybody. But we have to be ready for that battle. That battle is ongoing all the time. It's exactly what the last parak spoke about. And it's the good versus evil, the Yitzhak versus the Yitzhara. We have to be ready to fight. So we can have tzaddik-like moments throughout our day when we do good, 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 and the evil is getting stepped on. Because I don't have time for you. Mashiach's coming any moment. We have to just keep filling that good barrel because we're trying to tip the scale to bring Mashiach. So the tzaddik, the incomplete tzaddik, is he who does not hate the sitra achra, the spiritual klipa. It's interesting. So why talk about the tzaddik if most of us, not all of us of the generation, are not going to reach that level? Still, the Alter Rebbe has to lay it out. There's something we could aspire to. And by the way, the Beinani outwardly acts like a tzaddik, but he still has the internal constant struggle every single day, every single moment. He just doesn't act on it. He doesn't act on it. He doesn't speak like that. And you see, we know people in our lives that are they're nice people, they're kind people. Everything they say, everything they do, we don't know what goes on in their mind, but you don't know what kind of struggle that is for that person. Could be there are times that they want to lash out, but they don't. It could be they want to smack, but they don't. It could be that they're thinking certain things, but they're fighting it, which is the hardest thing. Nobody knows what goes on in somebody else's head. But we need the tzaddik to, number one, aspire to, and we need also the tzaddikim of the generation to bring that light and to carry us spiritually. So he says, "V'chol she'enis inamos b'tachlis al kor kachon nishar ezu shemetz ahava v'tayim l'sham lehusu habgadim hayetzim legam rukos." So this tzaddik, if he hasn't completely rid himself of the evil, Lachein loy nepach l'tev mamish, he hasn't transformed the evil completely into good. Me'achar sheyesh le'ezeh achtiza adayin babgadim hayetzim. He still has a little bit of those filthy garments, meaning the desires for pleasure in which the animal soul has previously clothed and expressed itself. Maybe he doesn't act on it at all. Obviously, if he's called a tzaddik, he doesn't act on it, but there's still a little bit. Except that whatever evil's there is so minor and so not used, it's mamish considered like next to nothing. Indeed, he's called a tzaddik, but still, veraloi, there's a little bit of evil that has not yet been eradicated. If it hasn't been eradicated, then he still has to work on his love for Hashem. He has to up that a little bit, or at least to the level of completion. And he's called an incomplete tzaddik. Halavai, 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 as we say in Yiddish, auf uns gesagt, that we should have such a tiny little vestige of evil that's completely dormant and unrecognizable, and we still have to work on our ahava. For example, as explained above, the term complete and incomplete denotes the tzaddik level of love for Hashem, and the term who knows only good and who knows only evil denotes the degree of his eradication and transformation of evil. So he's mamish a tzaddik, but something happened in the community and he didn't want to get involved. I'm gonna get dirty. You're getting involved in a fight, and even though you might settle it, but somebody might be upset at you, and it might take your ego might take a little hit. So he doesn't want to get involved. We have to stand up to evil. You see it and you know it because you're a tzaddik. You got to stand up and eradicate the evil. So the takeaway for them, this is Tanya. We're going to understand as much as the Alter Rebbe says numerous times throughout the book that everybody has a different capacity and level of understanding. Whatever works for us, take. I wouldn't want to say that the Tanya is like a buffet table. You take what you can get, but still, it's like a kiddush. You take as much as you can. Apply it to yourself. Yeah, apply what you can and what makes sense to you. So tzaddik, in its true definition, is a very serious standard, very high level. It's someone whose evil and non-godly side is totally transformed. To an extent, the struggle is gone. See, he says to an extent. He doesn't deal with the struggle that a Beinani has. Perhaps not achievable and not your divine mission. And listen, maybe we're not on the level of a tzaddik, but find areas in your life that you can claim as a tzaddik. You can have tzaddik moments. Have a wonderful day.